Many of you who lost their homes are still just struggling, and very, very few. There's some that are in your homes, but there's very few. There's still people just struggling, trying to pull things together to get back on life. We also, just the idea of our COVID struggles that we've kind of have been walking through. In our pastor search, I mean, your church is walking through the process of finding the man that the God has chosen for us to lead you in, growing in our relationship with Jesus as a church. The elders, they don't want to just get by, but they want you to thrive. They want you to thrive in your walk with God and thrive in your relationship with Jesus, because our community out there, they need Jesus. And as you thrive, Jesus is communicated. Unity, boy, just a very important part of allowing Jesus' message to go out. We need to be united in purpose. We need to be united in heart and united so that there are no divisions. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10 says, "Let no divisions be among you." And that's, that's the idea of unity. No divisions, moving forth with oneness. Last week we looked at where it come from. The short answer is Jesus. Unity comes from Jesus. We looked at the idea in Galatians where there is no Jew, no Gentile. Back then, boy, that was huge. That was a big thing. To us, it doesn't mean a lot for us. Jew, Gentile, okay, no big deal. But back when they lived, there was a barrier between the two. Now get this, the Jews had nothing to do with the Gentiles. They were unclean. In fact, they would not even eat with such a person. That's the separation that took place. And Jesus broke down that barrier of the dividing wall. He says, there's no longer are there Jews and are there Gentiles. And then he goes further, no longer are there slaves and free. They're all one in Jesus Christ. And then a little bit further, no longer are there male and female. Get that one. The idea is that the status, in the culture, one was elevated above the other. But in Jesus, it's a level playing field because it's all at the foot of the cross. It's all at the foot of where Jesus paid the penalty for sin. Because you come to Jesus just like I come to Jesus. The master comes to Jesus just like the slave comes to Jesus. The Gentile comes to Jesus just like the Jew comes to Jesus. It's all through grace. It's all through the cross, what Jesus did for us. We looked at the idea of unity through the early church. The early church got that idea of what Jesus Christ has accomplished for them, and they lived it out. They had this, what is called a disruptive type unity. In other words, it just turned their culture upside down. They never other people, probably a Jew or a Gentile or whatever class was, opposite of you, and would pray for that person because they wanted the Lord God to work in that person. They wanted him to experience God's blessing in their life. These are the words we see as you read through kind of the early church there in the book of Acts. You see things like this: one heart. That's unity, right? Go like this, yeah, because that's unity. One mind. Is that unity? One heart and soul. Not just heart, but soul. Is that unity? And then they have the one accord thing. And as you walk through that, you see all kinds of words that describe that unity. We looked at a passage in Ephesians where it says that he broke down the barrier of the dividing wall. He made both groups into one new man. No longer separated groups, but one new man. He called them fellow citizens. You are not aliens. You are a fellow citizen. I'd like to just kind of review the idea of a definition of unity. The idea of the state of not being multiple, but oneness. State of not being multiple, but oneness. And for the Christian, it's oneness in purpose and oneness in heart. And for Christians, it goes beyond that. It goes way beyond. I want to read you a verse out of John chapter 13. It says this: "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. He says, by this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. So guys and gals, as we live in this world around us, as we drive up and down the McKenzie Valley, as you love one another, that's a true picture of what Jesus Christ is really like. And as the people that you connect with, they see that, what happens is you are basically projecting the gospel in life form, showing genuine love, that you love one another just as Christ has loved you. And Jesus has loved us how far? All the way. That's right. He could not give anymore because he gave it all for you and for me. As he died on the cross, he paid the penalty for your sin and for my sin. What does this look like for my life? What does this look like for me to love one another? I think it's a question we all need to really ask ourselves. There's a preacher, Andy Stanley. He titles it this way: what does love require of me? As I live my life, what does love require of me? And each one of us need to ask that for ourselves as we live life. What does love look like in my life as I love others? That's review. Now we're going to move on